Yeah, you get further from me every time that we speak. It's like I can't get rest unless you're here with me.
What's going on, guys? Caleb Fast here with Sincerely Fastest Growing Podcast on the planet Earth, and I'm here today with a very special guest, a gentleman I've known for a very long time, Mr.
Zac Spinosa.
Zac Spinosa. Round of applause for Zac Spinosa, everybody. Normally Thrax is here. Unfortunately, Thrax couldn't make it today. That's Nick. That's who I mentioned before.
Right.
Unfortunately, he couldn't make it today because he's not feeling well. But yeah, you got me. You're stuck with me today. So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about what you do, and why you're on this amazing podcast today.
What do I do? Well, I lift weights. That's my main thing that I do every single day. And now, for the past 5 years, I've trained people to do the exact same. And ideally, each person who comes in to see me at my gym, which I should say Forge Lifting Club, Forge.
Shout out Forge.
Shout out Forge. They come in to see me and my main coach, Chris, and we basically make their lives 1,000 times better. So whether it's their physical or their mental health, they're coming in, they're getting stronger, they're feeling better about themselves, and they're having a lot more confidence. Yeah, that's pretty much what I do every single day. There's a lot of reasons to why I do that, and I'm sure we'll get into it. But yeah, it's been an incredible journey. 5 years, small space, little 600 square foot room, and now we're at about 8,000 square feet. In Welland.
We must add in Welland. So I'm from Welland. People that watch the podcast or watch anything that has to do with me know I'm from Welland. I'm very proud of it. And you started your first gym in the Niagara Street Plaza. And you know what? I will say it's a beautiful building. I really do think that it's an amazing building. That whole street I always thought was so iconic as a kid. Do you know what I'm saying? Like honestly, like right down by the bridge and everything like that. And it was I remember it was a small space, but it did its job, right? Yeah. And talk about a little bit about the bakery too, like what that meant to you. Because
my family, or I should say my dad opened a bakery about 23 years ago now, which
Shout out Rick.
Insane. Shout out Rick, the master baker.
Yeah.
Not masturbator, don't get it twisted. That's Caleb.
But never.
No. But
save it.
My pops, he opened up a bakery 23 years ago now, and he worked his ass off since he was, I can swear obviously, right? Yeah. He
it's highly encouraged.
Yeah, he worked his ass off since he was like a 13-year-old kid. He worked in a bakery since then. In the falls, and eventually he's like, why am I working for somebody else?
In the falls, eh?
Yeah, in the falls. That's
so his dad or nothing never had...
No, his dad, my nono, he worked at that bakery as well, but then he had a heart attack, so my dad kind of took over the manager role.
Okay.
And then it's like, you're working to fill somebody else's pockets. It gets kind of
more, you'll never get rich working for somebody else.
So he decided to take it on his own, and it was a small little spot, and grew, kept expanding and doing more, and eventually that led to my brother opening up his business as well. So the bakery was what I wanted to do my whole life. I wanted to be the baker. I wanted to take over what my dad did.
I remember you telling me that.
And realistically, it's not only just because it was like I liked it, I loved it, but it was the easy route, right? I was a pretty lazy kid. Growing up, I would show up for sports, but that was about all I cared about.
What sports did you play growing up?
I played basketball mostly. Was not good, but I was a good athlete, so I was able to do what I had to do to play well, but could not shoot. And then eventually I played football in high school only for 1 year before I got pretty sick. And I played well, got MVP, captained the team, so I did decent there. But
what high school did you go to?
Notre Dame. But that's grade 10, so no hero stuff happening. It
still counts for some. I didn't play any fucking sports in high school, like whatsoever. I did lift in high school though.
No way. So you did it before me. So.
And you know what? Actually, the fun fact about me, when I was in high school, I'm so proud of this. I got my max bench up to 200 pounds.
That's fucking really good, actually. People, man.
At like 160. So that's pretty good.
That's really good. Like, I'm going to go on a little tangent about bench pressing.
Yeah,
right
please.
Now. Like,
please.
The issue, like, I'm assuming you got a lot of young guys watching this shit. And,
a
lot of dudes get into lifting and they just hear 225 and like, man, I'm going to bench 225. Like,
that's really, like the goal.
Really easily, 2 plates repetition. It's like, it's not that easy. No. Like, you know what I mean? And like when you hit 2 plates, it's a very good feat. It's very exciting. It took me about a year and a half of consistently lifting to do that. And yeah, man, like there's people, they see somebody on the internet and it's like they're doing 500-pound bench and like, I wish I was that strong. It's like, you won't be most likely. Like, unless
that guy weighs how much too?
Like 250 pounds up to 300, maybe on juice, maybe not, right? Yeah. There's some beasts out there. Like my bench is like 335 and That's not great, but it's decent.
335.
Yeah,
What's your body weight?
Right now is 205, but when I did that, I was about 195. So
that's a lot.
The goal is to get up to
That's
230.
a lot. That's a big bench, though.
Yeah, it's decent.
Your goal is 230.
Yeah, for my body weight,
Yeah.
so I can actually compete. 'Cause I'm too tall for. The longer your limbs, the harder it is to power lift.
That's why
right?
I did hear that. And
But,
so now I remember we were talking about. I cut Zach's hair. The reason why I know Zach is because my mom. How would this work? My mom knew your
Bought
dad.
bread. Yeah, bought bread.
Okay, so
Yeah.
yeah. So my mom moved to Niagara when I was like when I was first born. I was born in Welland. So then she went to the bakery and bought bread from Rick, and then they became friends.
Yeah.
And then we all just kind of grew up together. Like,
Yeah, for
some
real.
of my earliest memories are being at the bakery.
Yeah.
Like when I was bad, my mom would send me.
The clean dog shit up. You remember that?
Yeah. Actually, I don't. I cleaned dog shit up.
Yeah,
eh?
yeah, you
Actually, maybe
did.
I kind of do remember.
Yeah, I
cleaning
think that
dog
was when
shit.
you were like maybe 11, bro. Because how old are you now?
21.
21. So yeah, you would have been 11 because I was like 16. I remember that.
That's crazy.
That was when I was Fat Zach, bro.
That's crazy.
Back in the day.
I do remember Chunky Zach.
Yo,
I do.
Fat Zach was real, bro.
I do remember that.
Yo, fat shaming works too, man. That's what got me to get in shape.
It
dude.
did.
So,
eh?
yeah.
Like when in high school kind of
Yeah,
thing.
I went from like I said, I was an athlete, right?
Yeah.
In high school, and I was in decent shape. Nothing like the kids nowadays that are fucking jacked, but
Jacked.
I was like your typical high school athlete kid,
Yeah.
and 6'1", you know, like decent, like 190 at the time. So I wasn't like great shape, but not bad.
Yeah.
And from there, I went to 275 pounds, right, in 6 months. So and it didn't go anywhere but my stomach and my head. So I had a big head. I was on prednisone. It's a steroid. It's not a anabolic steroid. It's a steroid for inflammation for my arthritis. I have rheumatoid arthritis.
Yeah, so talk about that a little bit. When did you find out you had arthritis, and what kind of like do you know what triggered that, or is it something I get like explain it a little bit because I have like memory loss. I can't really remember actually like why.
I'll break it down a little bit. So just simply, I believe the statistics are about
It's a
1 in
weird word.
5 people in Canada have arthritis.
It's a lot.
Now I have rheumatoid arthritis, which is a different type, but I could be wrong on that, so don't quote me on it. But I have rheumatoid arthritis, which it attacks pretty much all the joints in my body. And basically for me, the worst parts were my wrists, my hands, and my hips. My knees were not great, but
Which
they
is
were
like all
bad.
lifting
all
points
the
too,
main things.
right?
And
Especially
so
hips.
it went from playing sports. I collected my athletic award at the end of the year in grade 10, and by the time that happened, from April to June, I went from playing basketball to not being able to walk. So I was like
2
on
months.
a walker in 2 months. I hadn't gained a lot of weight yet, but they were trying to figure out what was happening. And I
What
went
did
to
you feel like? What was like? Do you remember just waking up one day being weirdly sore?
I started with rashes, which is funny because it's
Rashes?
not a symptom of arthritis, which is really weird.
Weird.
But it's interesting because like rashes fight off inflammation, basically,
Yeah.
right? But the rashes I got were so bad that at night when I slept, I'd wake up bleeding because I'd be scratching them so much. And we went in to check for allergies, all that stuff, and then turns out, like, well, you have arthritis. Okay, what does that mean when you're 16?
Did
Nothing.
they just do blood work and found
Blood
that
work,
out?
yeah, they
That's
found out
weird.
like my certain levels of my blood were at this and that, and then we got moved over to McMaster Youth Hospital, right? And
Yeah.
went with a direct rheumatologist and started going on medications, started getting needles, all that type of stuff for it, and it was not fun.
No.
And within 6 months of being on prednisone, I went to grade 11, first day of school, and a kid came up to me who I know my whole life and was like, "Holy shit, Spinosa, you got fat as fuck. What happened?" And
Damn.
from that moment on, I never went back to
The homies.
dude, for real, they can hurt. And,
Fuck.
And we're like,
Because did you not? You didn't tell anybody that.
like people knew there's something wrong, but nobody cares, right? Like, let's be honest, nobody cares in school, right? Like, nobody cares about your feelings and shit. And things are different now, and now it's a little bit micro. Now it's a little too much caring about stuff,
now
but
you get paid super hard for that.
Right.
What the fuck? He's got
And,
arthritis.
like,
but that is fucked up.
Yeah, and like I'd actually never went back to eat lunch in the cafeteria again after that, which was
Damn.
crazy because now like I'm older and fucking I don't care anymore. But like back then, like I was messed up mentally. It messed me up, and I got pretty down on myself. Just gave up.
I bet, right?
And like honestly, I was being a bitch. Like if I can be straight candid with it, I was being a little bit of a bitch. Obviously, like easier said now in hindsight on stuff, but there was I had so much support where most people in my situation or a situation worse than mine, which there's many people with that, they didn't have the support I have. You know, my family, they're amazing.
Yeah, it's super solid.
My friends kind of fucked off, which was, it is what it is. They're 16-year-olds. They want to live their life. I'm not mad at them for that. But like my family was there for me, right? And they were pushing me. My dad's a pretty tough parent. So he was very supportive and helping me through it, but eventually got to the point where I was like, dude, like you bitching, moaning, and moping in your room playing fucking World of Warcraft all day is not going to help you.
Were you
get
a World
better.
of Warcraft guy?
Legend.
Really?
Seventh in the world.
I
Warrior.
never. Shout out my mom. She never let me play it because it's some demonic shit.
My
or
dad
some shit
actually
she
said I couldn't play it, and I hid it from him. And to this day, he didn't even know I played it. But
Rick, don't watch. Fuck, you're gonna
don't watch it. But no, yeah. So I had to get off my computer and start doing something about it. So it all started with YouTube, and that's probably where most people are watching.
So your
this,
dad,
right?
your dad, that is absolutely that's where people are watching. Your dad came in and said like, what? He just fucking paged you the one day. And
Like
he was
I was 16-year-old, 17-year-old guy at the time, right? My priorities are, get in shape, not feel bad about yourself. Have sex,
get laid.
Right? Get fucking laid.
Yeah.
Like that's
Get
important
paid.
to me. Get paid and get laid.
Get
That's
laid.
so realistically, that's all I cared about, right?
Two very important things.
And my dad came out to me, and like some people will say it's too harsh, but he's like, being fat as fuck and sad all the time is not going to get you pussy.
It's true.
And
it's true.
The next day,
that's a good lesson. That's a good lesson. And also keep in mind that like you gained the weight from the steroid, right?
yes and no. So
Right.
that's what I would have said to you 10 years ago when I
Right.
was 16, right?
Yeah.
So because of steroids, I'm gaining weight, which 1,000%, it reduces your protein synthesis by 30%. It increases your body weight. It holds
Which is
water.
the cortisone? That's what
It's
cortisone does?
prednisone.
Prednisone, sorry,
Yeah, no, it's all
prednisone.
good. Cortisone shoots.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good for you for that. But
Yeah.
the problem was not only did that happen, I did nothing about it, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to get into more things that have happened to me throughout my life where
Yeah.
I've had to be back on that medication.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the same thing didn't happen, right?
Mhm.
So, so I had to do something about it. So we had a home gym. I was lucky to have that because I was way too insecure to go to a gym in front of people and
Mhm.
all that stuff. And my dad got me into it. We're lifting weights. He actually had a pretty decent program for how old it was because
Mhm.
like back in the day it was some bullshit you'd see. But he had actually
Was it like a CD? Like
it was a
like
magazine actually by Bill Phillips, I believe.
Okay.
Body for Life. It was him and my mom had done it when they were married and stuff, which is crazy. We started doing that, and I got obsessed. Like I'm a very obsessive person. I like to be
Same.
the best
Yeah,
at things
we
and,
get along
and get
through
good
that.
at them. And went on YouTube and I started watching everything you could think of, and I fell into traps of the bullshit 6-pack shortcuts, all that stuff. But it motivated me to get in shape, and I walked every day. I started tracking my calories. I was obsessed, and people would say nowadays like it's wrong, it's causing disordered eating. But the way I was feeling about myself and the way I was treating myself, sometimes you got to choose the lesser evil, right? So
You have to.
and I think nowadays we're trying to diagnose and fix things all the time, and,
Mhm.
and sometimes you have to just go for it, right, and do what
Mhm.
you have to do. So I did it. I went full tilt into fitness and health, and to the point where my dad's like, I'm not fucking working out with you anymore because you are so irritating. And
Really, eh?
Because he's like, you think you know everything? You're fucking 17 years old, and he was right. I didn't know everything, but I thought I did.
Or were you critiquing the
I was like,
forms
well,
and
honestly,
shit?
Dad, I think you need to retract your scapula a little bit better. And
Yeah.
that's probably why you have shoulder pains. And, if you have lower back problems, you should probably start deadlifting. And he's like, shut the fuck up, right? So, but he ended up becoming one of my clients, funny enough. But so I got into it, fell in love with it, got really good, lost all the weight by the end of high school, got laid, which was fantastic at the time. Right.
Love that.
And
Love that.
and that was
It's
my
important.
motivation, right? And after that shit, I started focusing more on the mental health aspect of it and actually feeling good rather than just getting skinny, which a lot of people do that mistake of just getting lean, not building
That's
enough
the
muscle.
mistake I'm making right now.
Yeah,
is
but
just
we
getting
talked about this.
shreddy.
We're gonna get built. Don't
Yeah.
worry. But yeah, man. So I chased after it, fell in love with it, working at the bakery nonstop. Focusing on getting healthy, getting stronger. My arthritis pain started dissipating. We started weaning off medications. Everything's going well, right? I was in a relationship at the time, so that kind of took over my focus on a lot of things, which it wasn't even a bad thing. Like, it's life. You're going to live and learn. And
And it does too. That's a relationship does take like I don't know,
Takes a lot
it's hard
out,
to
right?
balance
So-
with that, right?
And like it was my first one. I was stupid and rushed into things and all that stuff. But it is like lessons learned, right? And moving forward, I continued working out, and all of a sudden I became the fitness guy, right? So in my family and friend groups and like around our businesses, and I would be selling bread at the Welland Market, and people were like, hey man, like how'd you get in shape? And I'm like, I'd answer the question and it would make sense, and I was like, Okay. And then I trained my brother's cook, who was working for him at the time, and he lost a
What
lot
does
of
your brother
weight.
do again?
He owns Black Sheep Roasters in Welland, Ontario.
Super iconic.
Incredible food. And, not food. Incredible coffee, I should say.
So you were training his chef?
Training a chef, and he lost weight just in our home gym, right?
Yeah.
And then my dad at the time had mentioned about turning the storage room that we had that we didn't use anymore into a small gym. It was like 600 square feet. I'm like, you're fucked. I'm not spending money on that. I'm extremely cheap. And I didn't want to do that. And then the girl I was seeing was like, you should open a gym. I'm like, okay, I'll do that, right? Because classic idiot. I'm a typical idiot. And I listened, thankfully. And I'm very thankful for that. I bought all my equipment in April of 2018.
And this is the space that was right this is
right
the space
next door to the bakery.
That's where it was,
attached,
right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It didn't seem that small when you were in it, but I guess it was pretty small, right? How big was it? 600?
600 square feet.
Wow.
So
so this apartment's, what is it? 1,700?
Yeah.
Or something like that?
Like two of these rooms that we're in. This is a pretty small room. It's two of these rooms was pretty much my gym, and I bought.
That's true. Actually, it was small.
Yeah,
it was just the turf, and talk about what was in there. It was just, I think it was just the turf.
There wasn't even turf. No, dude, that was the second expansion there, man.
Wow.
Yeah, no, the other room, the small room, it was rubber mats.
Yeah, dude, I actually kind of remember. I vaguely remember what you're talking about. Yeah.
It had rubber mats, obviously for flooring. One squat rack, a set of dumbbells up to 95 actually.
Yeah.
A lap pull down, a leg press.
Bench press?
Bench station, and that was it. And an elliptical, right? Like some stupid shit that I bought. And within 1 week, I had 20 hours booked. I was like, okay, this is really good. This is a part-time job while I work at the bakery.
Super.
By the second week, I had 45 hours of clients, and I told
How did you go about doing that? Like, what was the process? Was it because you're like a popular guy, right? Like you're yeah.
Like people know us from our family and stuff for sure.
That's what I'm saying.
So I was at the Welland Market,
and that's how you started like
all those people that had asked me like, oh, how do you lose the weight? Or how do you do that? I started saying like, hey, like if you're interested, I have personal training at like $45 an hour, which is so cheap, but it was more than I was making at $10 an hour, right? Working for my dad, right? Fucking Rick. But Rick's child labor.
Yeah, somebody called the fucking.
Somebody called facts, but
yeah.
So they got interested, and then my brother was. He was into politics at the time, so he knew people who kind of had a little bit more disposable income, and he's like, "You got to go see my brother." My brother's always been a big fan of mine, and obviously vice versa. But he pushed him towards me, and it worked. So I got busy.
So within 2 weeks, you had full time,
and I had no fucking clue what I was doing. So we own businesses with food, not businesses with like service. You know what I mean? It's a total different thing. So I had to learn how to get QuickBooks and like build programs. I bought an app for software. I actually didn't even have the app at the time. I was using paper to write people's programs down. I had no idea how to use like Sheets or like Microsoft Excel. Like I didn't know any of these things, right? And I had a very bare minimum traditional education. I started sneaking into lectures at Brock.
Really?
Yep. With my ex who was in nutrition sciences, and I learned a quarter of what I learned in 10 minutes in 3 months of sneaking into Brock that you could learn on YouTube. So I just went to YouTube, bought online courses from like Lane Norton, Sebastian Oreb, all these guys, and I got my knowledge up quick. And I became known around the area for being like one of the better trainers out there, and people just came to see me from all over. And I expanded in 2020 just before COVID hit, and we took on 1,700 square feet, so we doubled the space.
Which was the same, but it was the
same building, right?
You just ended up knocking a wall out?
Just knocked out a wall, took over half the bakery, and we did well. We started adding group classes, and basically did that through COVID, up and down. I trained some professional athletes, so I was able to stay open during COVID. And broke the law a couple times, no big deal, but we did what we had to do to pay bills. And so basically, after all that shit ended up closing down and everything went back to normal-ish, I convinced my dad to take a leap of faith in me, in a sense, and said, like, I want to grow, and I don't think we can grow here, and I know you built us the opportunity. Like, we're not a very wealthy family by any means. We don't, like, there's no money being handed around by parents to kids, which I'm grateful for. I don't want that.
Me too.
But we were granted space, right, to build something in, which is, I think, more valuable than money.
Way more valuable.
I said to my dad, like, you've worked a really long time, and he still is working, but definitely not nearly as much.
Because now his business somewhat runs itself.
Yeah, it runs itself, and you know, I was paying bare minimum at the bakery for my rent, right? Where now like my bills are much higher, but it supports
the whole overarching.
So it supports the whole family, right? Which is good, and
enterprise
we all put our money in together and did something, right?
Yeah.
So my brother, dad, and I put our money in and bought a 94-acre farm in Fenwick, and
94 fucking acres.
it was 17,000 square feet building.
Wow.
Right, so we built some apartments in there for ourselves to live in, and my dad and I did, and then separately. We don't live together.
Yeah.
We actually put a double wall in our bedrooms because they're back to back, so we don't have to.
It needs to be soundproof.
It needs to be soundproof. Rick's a freak, bro.
It's very important.
I'd like to say it's me, but it's him, man.
It's
it's
definitely Rick.
But we did that and took over the gym. The gym's 8,000 square feet and slowly built it. My friend Chris, my best friend Chris, he moved down from Toronto to work with me.
When did you meet Chris? You met him before, like a long time
10
ago.
years ago.
Where?
Yeah. He went to school with my brother.
He did, eh?
Him and Lucas were complete failures in school, but they became good friends, right? So then I got close with Chris, got close with all my boys in Toronto, Scarborough, and we basically, Chris was in kinesiology, studying to be a physiotherapist, and with COVID happening, school got pushed back, everything kind of went to shit. So I reached out to Chris and said, "Dude, I'm buying this space, it's happening. I need an employee to help me out. I need someone to help me do this, and you're not really doing anything right now. And by the time you're done, you're going to be paying all these bills, and you have to get all these hours for physio. And unless you open a business, which you don't have the money to do, which I don't have the money to open a physio business, you're fucked, right? So I'm like, if you trust me, we can do something.
Yep.
So I gave him a very good wage to start, right? Most people call me an idiot, but you can't buy loyalty, right? And that's what Chris is, the most loyal guy I know. And he came down. I taught him everything I knew. He brought his own flavor into it, but continued the Forge system. And luckily I did, because he ran my gym for about 5 months while I was out of commission
again,
sick again, right? So
when did that happen? When you were sick? So the timeline quick is so the COVID happened, then after COVID you guys all got the 94-acre farm.
Yeah, let me just rapid fire it. So 2018 open gym, 2020 expand the gym, 2021 buy a new property, completely renovate it. Everything's going great. This is from June 2021, right? From June 2021 till September, we renovated like crazy, and we opened the gym up in September. 1 month into opening the gym, it was a shithole, but it worked. We didn't have garage doors. We just had wood that we'd close the walls on. We were working. We were just building, right, as we go. 1 month in, I had... well, not 1 month in. Before that, I'd ended a relationship, a long-term relationship, and we'd been doing all the work ourselves. We're working plus doing construction. I definitely had a lot on my plate, more than I probably should have, and I didn't have an outlet that helped me de-stress, not even knowing that I was stressed, because I was just
on the go
mode. And when I finally let go of something that I had for a while that was weighing me down, in a sense, I didn't realize how much I needed to just relax, and my body let me know real fast. So in October,
you think that's why?
I think that has something to do with it, a little bit. Like, definitely stress is a fucking powerful thing, man, and people avoid it and avoid.
It's hard to know. That's an interesting thing you said about knowing when you're stressed or not.
Yeah.
Like, because sometimes I even think about that person, because I'm on go too.
Yeah.
And sometimes I think about that. I worry about that sometimes. I'm like, I wonder if one day, like, knock on wood, like, I'm just gonna fucking
die.
Not like not die, but like you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. Something
might happen. Like, so you think that? So go ahead and explain what happened.
Yeah. So like, I'm not saying it was all because of a relationship, because it definitely wasn't. No, but I was hammering. I have arthritis. I already have an autoimmune disease, right? Which is my body. My immune system attacks my body, my joints, the synovial fluid within my joints that lubricate them. So my body does that already.
It's crazy.
Plus, I'm not sleeping much. I'm not really eating quality food because I'm working so much and moving around doing construction. And then I also was training like an absolute fucking maniac at the time.
Like
my own actual training. Working out. Yeah. I still think that's the best shape I've ever been in that time, just before everything happened.
Yeah, you look pretty
I was fucking going insane, just going crazy. And then I'd been in a relationship for 5 years. I'm out of one. I instantaneously fell hard in love again, like in 2 seconds, because I'm a fucking lover boy, right? And so many emotions were happening. I was pretty much checked out for a year at this point previously. So I finally felt like a rush of things, right?
Yeah.
So me and this girl, we were at the time, we weren't serious by any means. We were just like,
hanging out
and everything's cool. And we had booked a trip, right, just to de-stress funny enough, because that was my thing. Being on a beach, swimming.
Help. You need. I'm the same way. I need like a plan to de-stress.
A mental de-stress or something to look forward to. That's not work, right? Because I love work, but you need to have something outside of that, right? To turn it off, which I didn't know how to do at the time. I do now, but we'd booked this trip, so her and I had been hanging out. Everything's cool, just whatever. And the day before, 2 days before we were about to take flight, I had a really bad fever. Oh, maybe it's COVID. It's still 2021, right? Takes me to the hospital, and then I'm on fluids within like an hour of being there. And then my brother came to see me. We went for a walk around the Welland emergency room, and I collapsed outside. So next thing you know, I'm in a diaper. That's all I can say, right?
Damn.
I'm in a diaper. I'm taking all these drugs,
That's
right?
the way it
Like I've
goes.
never even fucking smoked weed in my life, so like I don't even know what it's like to be high.
Yeah.
And I'm on fucking drugs,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean,
The
morphine,
good shit.
Dilaudid and shit in the
Wow,
hospital.
really?
Yeah.
Wow,
And it was nuts for me. And
what? Tell me what that felt like. Did you feel like
I had
was it
no
like
idea.
depressed, or were you just
dude,
kind of,
at this time, 1 week in, I'm just like, what the fuck is going on, right? Like I have no idea what's going on. I didn't even attribute it to arthritis. I'm like, what could this be, right? Who knows, right?
Yeah.
So I should backtrack before this. I did think it was arthritis actually, because I forgot what happened beforehand. So in the middle of September, my hands started to go really bad, and I
They
said
get swollen?
got very swollen to the point where I couldn't even hold anything in my hands. So all my clients had to load their own weights. They had to do everything. I couldn't do anything but talk, right? Just had to be a mouth. And I was blessed that my doctor had got me back on medication, because I've been off medication for 2 years at this point. And I'd been in remission completely, right? No problems. And this is in mid-September, sorry. And Chris, actually, he doesn't have his license. He had to fucking drive my vehicle to get us to work, because he lived with me at the time, because I couldn't even hold steering wheel, right?
Chris is a real one. Eh?
He is a real
I
one.
love to have Chris on here too.
Chris is hilarious.
Yeah.
So after all that stuff, I got on medications again. Everything's great. I'm feeling better. I'm going on a trip with this girl. She's beautiful. She's so sweet. She makes me feel so special. I'm like, oh my God, life is amazing. How could anything go wrong? Boom, hospital, right? Boom, hospital, right? So all that stuff happens. You probably can't see it on the camera, but where I'm pointing at right now is like,
I can see it,
I went to St. Catherine's General for this. They went
that?
through my jugular vein to do
brother.
a liver biopsy, because I was on blood thinners, so they couldn't go
So
in
what
the
they do?
side.
They suck a thing in your neck
all
right
the way
there?
down the vein
Oh my
to get
God.
a piece of my liver out to see what's going on. Turns out my liver's failing. So now that I'm a fitness guy, everybody finds out I'm on liver failure. Like, he is on steroids.
Oh,
right?
no
so
way. I
that
never
was
even
like
thought of
instantly
that.
what happened, which I was not.
Would people start saying
if you
that?
look at people, but it's whatever. I'm not that important, so it doesn't really matter. But
Wow.
if you look at me, I'm not on steroids, obviously.
No, he's
but
not. He looks great, but he looks natural.
my bench would be much better.
Yeah.
But and squat, Jesus, my squat's terrible. So we go to the hospital. They send me to Toronto. Like, we can't do anything well, and we're sorry. And I'm bleeding out of my neck, and it won't stop bleeding. I'm bleeding everywhere out of my neck. My nose is bleeding. And I mean bleeding. There's blood all over me. If you go on my Instagram, Zac Fitness, you'll see pictures of me bleeding in hospital stuff. It's disgusting and scary and
So
terrifying.
wait, they put a camera. I'm just confused. Like,
Not a camera. Actually, I don't know what it is.
The fuck? Like, how does that work?
They just do honestly, I don't know why I'm saying not a camera. I don't know. They did something where they go through my neck like a string thing, and they pull out a piece of my liver. They get it tested, right?
And you were awake for this?
I was asleep. I was asleep.
Yeah.
Actually, no, what?
Or just high?
I was something.
Super
I was
high.
something. So then they send me back to Welland. Welland's like ICU time. Boom, right? You're in the ICU. At this point, I can barely walk again. Like, I can't move. Not because it hurts, because I'm so weak. I have nothing in me, right? I'm barely eating because I can't eat.
And your liver's failing.
Everything's failing. My liver and my kidneys. So,
What?
yeah,
That's
it's
so
fucked.
fucked.
So
I knew this, but it's so fucked.
my dad's on
so
the liver
fucked.
transplant list at this point for me. Like, they're getting it set up just in case, right? Like, not for sure, but this could happen.
Oh.
Excuse me. And so now they send me to Toronto. And once again, this is during COVID times, kind of. So one visitor, right, after we left Welland to Toronto. So the girl I was seeing who brought me to the hospital at the time, she had been visiting me and stuff like that, and making, like, being there. My brother, my sister-in-law now, my little sister, my dad and my mom. And they send me to Toronto. I'm in an ambulance. And I'm not allowed to have more than 500 milliliters of fluid at this time. So it's one water bottle for anybody listening. So I'm like sipping on this water, and they're like, you can't have any more, because like
On your way to Toronto.
yeah, because there's an issue with my sodium levels, and you can't have too much water with not enough sodium. It's crazy. Like
Holy fuck. Did they? Okay, go ahead.
yeah. So no, sorry, man.
No, you're good.
So I end up getting in Toronto, get a room, and like the very specialist floor or whatever. And now my mom's pretty much with me this entire time. This is a 5-week period. My mom's with me every day, bringing me a bagel every morning. Fantastic. The most important part of my day was a bagel. Watching Netflix, Disney Plus, and just suffering in bed, getting poked.
What did you feel like?
I thought it was over, dude.
You thought you were gonna die?
I thought it was over. At first, I didn't. Until
you went to Toronto.
I think Toronto. It was the same thing. I didn't know what was really happening because I was so messed up.
And they didn't know either.
Keep in mind, no, they didn't know at the time. I'm 205 pounds going in, very muscular, the best shape of my life.
Jacked.
And I got down to 132 pounds, and that was the last time they weighed me because I couldn't stand for another 2 weeks after that. So they didn't weigh me
some
again.
pictures, and I'm gonna
and like my mom's there, my mom's crying, and my mom's like, she was an angel, man. She was the best during this whole thing. And like I remember waking up and FaceTiming Erica, my girlfriend, the girl I was seeing at the time. Now we've been together 2 years. I remember FaceTiming her, and she was kind of shocked, and I didn't know why, but I hadn't talked to her in like 6 days. But I didn't know.
So
I
the way
hadn't
you
talked
looked
to her.
was what?
Not even no. She just didn't like because she just thought I didn't want to talk to her anymore because we weren't like together, right? Like we weren't even.
Oh,
like,
so you weren't in the hospital, and then the next time you talked to her, you were at the hospital, kind of shit.
like yeah, but like I thought I had just talked to her. But it's 6 days, right? Like I don't remember anything because I was so loopy, and like I didn't.
And like nobody knows.
Like,
exactly.
Nobody cares.
Way,
like my family's not going to care at the time. Like the fucking guy's dying, right? And so it turns out I had a 30% chance to live, right?
30% chance to live.
Luckily, I was so healthy going into it because that was the only reason I had a chance to
crazy,
live.
bro.
Because it took so long to find out what was happening, and my dad had come to visit me because he was like running the gym with Chris for me and running like we had a new building and he had the bakery and he had a little kid, right? He's a baby, and a daughter, and my brother's busy and everybody's busy, right? So like everyone wants to see me, but like only my mom could be there, and thank fuck she was there, man.
Because everyone else was just keeping.
Shit moving, right? And my mom was the best. Fuck, I
crazy.
can't give her enough credit. But my dad had come to visit one time and. He's like not the softest guy, as you know, and he doesn't know how to process like pain like that. And I don't know how you could, because I think my parents had it worse than I did, because I'm their fucking baby, right? Yeah. And man, like I grabbed his hand. I was like, just tell everybody I love him, because I don't know like what's gonna happen, right? Like, because I just didn't know. Like I thought I might not see my sister again or my brother or like anything. It was fucked, dude, and. Like getting emotional thinking about it, but
it is.
It's incredible how much we take shit for granted, you know. And I do.
Crazy,
I'm doing it.
Bro, crazy.
I'm doing it currently, taking life for granted, and I've been through shit, right? And it was the most eye-opening experience I ever had. Like the things that became important to me, like this, are so silly, you know. Like my brother had come to visit me. He was allowed at this point to come visit me. It's like 3.5 weeks in, and in Toronto, but only one person. So my mom came in at 6 a.m. every morning and brought me food because I got blood work at 5 a.m. And my brother, I'm like, when are you coming? He's like, 11 a.m. I'm like, well, who the fuck is gonna bring me a bagel, right? Because like that's all I cared about. And I had not walked at this point for like 2 weeks, right?
Fuck,
and
that's crazy.
I had this robe. You'll see the pictures when you pop it up. A robe and these fucking bench slippers, right? Slides. And I said to the nurse, like, can you get me a bagel? Because like I need a bagel, right? Like this is like what all I cared about, right? And she's like, oh yeah, honey, I'll get it for you for sure. But then she came in, she's like, I'm so sorry, we're short staffed, I can't do it. I'm like, how can I get a bagel? And she wasn't my nurse, so she probably wasn't supposed to tell me this, right? But I had done like I did 1 day of physio, and then I'd walked with my mom with a walker and her holding me, like I could barely move, right? And like when I walked, it was like a dinosaur, because I couldn't like lifting my body was so heavy, right? Oh. And she said to me, well, you can go downstairs and get the bagel yourself if you feel up to it. And because that bagel was the most important part of my life, I was like, I'm going to get that fucking bagel. Everything bagel with double cream cheese. I'm going. And I got up and I spent $27 in the hospital Tim Hortons buying 4 bagels, an ice cap, 2 hot chocolates,
Yeah,
a coffee.
Because
I had not ate. I've been eating fucking Jello and applesauce, bro. I called my girlfriend Erica. She'll remember this. And I was like, you have to try the most magnificent delicacy on the planet. Applesauce and ice, right? Because like I had to make the best out of shit because that's all I had, right?
Yeah.
And it's so fucking funny thinking about it. But so that was like my go-to, and I finally started getting on the mend. Everything's getting better. We know what's going on. They'd taken part of my hip out, like a part of a little piece of bone to biopsy, biopsy. That hurts so bad. And okay, this is what you have. You have macrophage activation syndrome, MAS, M-A-S, right? It's a sub-disease of arthritis. Rheumatoid arthritis is very rare, and it's very lethal. Kills a lot of people.
How does it come true?
It just happens. Very unlucky.
From having arthritis.
Just
type shit?
unlucky. And
Does anyone in your family have arthritis?
Like very few people for the amount of people in my family. So and nobody has rheumatoid.
You're obviously Italian.
Nobody has rheumatoid.
Yeah.
It's my mom's side.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom. But thankfully I'm not bald like my dad's side.
You know? It's great hair.
Thank God. Thank God. Great hair.
Also thanks to me.
Yeah, thanks to him. He gives the greatest cuts. But dude, like I got out of the hospital and my girlfriend moved into my mom's house because that's where I'd moved into. I didn't live at my mom's beforehand, but like I kind of was like.
So, but hold
dying,
on a
right?
sec. They tell you that you have this fucking thing.
Yeah.
And then they're like, but we know how to fix it.
Yeah. Oh, as soon as they know, they can fix it, right?
They're
but
blessed.
it's so hard to know because.
But they told you when you originally were in Welland that you had a 30% chance to live.
No, in Toronto.
In Toronto.
When they figured out what was going on.
So they figure out what's going on. They tell you they have this. That
Yeah.
you have this, and then they're like, you have a 30% chance to live.
Yeah, but they told me that like when I was getting better.
Wow.
But like when I was not getting better, like I should
That's okay.
Yeah, I should probably like make it more understanding in a sense. Like if anybody's seen Hobbs and Shaw, it's like a Fast and Furious spinoff, right?
Oh, okay.
I remember watching this at nighttime, and I was hopped up on medications. I also had a fever the entire time until the last 2 weeks. So I had a fever for 3 weeks straight. So fever dreams, they're a real thing.
Oof, they're the
Right?
fucking worst.
And
bro.
I
They're
had
the
those
worst.
every night, and I'd watched Hobbs and Shaw, and my mom had been putting like a towel over my head and my face full of ice and just an ice bath. Just kept dunking it because I was so hot, trying to cool me down. And I was watching that, and I fell asleep watching it. I woke up and hit my alarm and screamed to get me a club because my mom had been like kidnapped by native tribe people in Peru.
Is that what happens in it?
That's what happened to me. That's what I saw. And I called my brother at 3 a.m. and tell you the truth. And I'm like, we need to save mom. They're trying to kill her. We got to go get her. I got my weapons. Like, come get me. We're going to go. And I was like ready to go because I was just freaking out. So like these are the things that I was seeing, and it was nuts, right? So I was fucked up. Then after all this, I go home, right? Or I go back to my mom's, and I'm living there, and I'm dreaming. I'm having all these fucked up feelings. I'm having Dilaudid still, right? Because it's what's keeping me.
Oh, and if
like,
anybody doesn't know what that shit is, that shit's like that's like a huge street drug.
Basically,
too.
like
That's
fentanyl.
Oh
like,
yeah,
in a sense.
no,
it's a
basically
low dose fentanyl, right?
It's
And
hard shit.
And I'm on this shit, and I needed it. Like it's not like because if I didn't need it, I would have had crazier things happening mentally. But like I was like a shadow of myself, right?
Oh yeah,
and
it's
I don't.
a hardcore painkiller, right?
And
Painkiller?
Yeah, and a lot of things.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there, and now I'm
Opiate.
back on prednisone again. High dose prednisone. But at this point, I understand fitness.
And you're back home now?
Back home.
Right.
My doctor, my rheumatologist.
How long was it till you? So they tell you have it, and then it was 3 weeks after, and they're like, "You're good to go back home."
Pretty much, yeah.
Wow.
It was.
You got immediately better. What did they put?
No.
you on?
Like, I wasn't even better when I left the hospital.
How did they get you better from that point?
So many drugs.
Just fucking
so many
loaded
drugs,
you,
and I was very healthy going into it, so that was very helpful. And I had a will to live. Like I did not want to fucking die. Like I want to have kids so fucking bad, and if I died without raising a kid, I would. I guess I can't say I'd kill myself because I'd be dead, but I'd be very upset, you know.
Yeah.
And so I got out, and everything was fucked up in my mind. Like seeing people, looking at them, looking at me, was hard. Because they saw this skeleton, right?
I seen you, a week after you got out?
Yeah, you came and cut my hair, right?
I came and cut your hair.
You
I
came and cut
fucking
my
came
hair.
and cut your hair.
Yeah, you came
at
and
your
cut my hair at my
mom's
mom's,
house, bro.
and I was fucked up, right?
Damn, bro. I did come and cut your hair. I totally remember that, bro.
And my mom went back to work, so my girlfriend, she had moved in. She was a nursing student at the time. to my mom's to like take care of me, right? To help me get to the bathroom and all that shit, which is crazy.
She's a real one. Really shout out to her, 'cause she's a fucking real one.
Erica's fucking amazing. She
man.
she literally was with not me, right? For like 5-6 months. And like
it was
the way
it was like not
me,
right.
man. Like I didn't think the same way. I became insecure. I became scared, paranoid. I had like anxiety, which I've never had. Like I was definitely sad, right? And I remember going to see all my friends at my old house because that's where Chris had lived, and all my friends came down and I couldn't even like talk to them. I was freaking out, and I pretended to be sick to go home because I just couldn't be around people, which is fucking crazy because that's not me. I can't shut up, like obviously, as you can tell. And I love talking to people. I love being around people. I'm an extroverted person, and it was messed up, right? So I was treating people not as good as I probably should have without even realizing it, right? Because I was just so in a different world.
Yeah, bro.
And I think the way I was definitely wasn't fair to Erica, my girlfriend, the most, because I wasn't giving like my true self, right? Because like it's not who I was, right?
Yeah, fuck,
and it's not even an excuse. And
how could you be though? You know what I mean? Like that's
true, yeah. But like the fact that she rocked with it and stayed with it and kicked with it and kept moving forward, it was good, right? And having that state of mind and who I was and who I am now helped me learn a lot of things, right? I got back into the gym and I wanted to fucking grow. I wanted to see that place catch on fire in a good way.
How long
right?
till you were back in the gym?
I went back to work the second week of January. So I got back home in the end of November. So it was like 5 weeks.
Before Christmas. Yeah.
And I got back to work.
2021.
Right? 2022.
2022.
Because it was the end of 2021 this happened, right?
Yes.
So 2022,
yes.
after they locked us down again for like the last time, I went back to work. I'm like, okay, it's fucking time to go, right? It was actually the third week because we got COVID that week, so we had to stay closed. So we went back the third week of January, and I took back on my client Sandra, who's been my best client I've ever had. She'll for sure be listening. And she was like, if you go on my social media, you'll see Sandra. She's the queen. Mm-hmm. She lost so much weight, became a stronger person, and is now forges her life, right? And she was like a person who I didn't know before I got sick that well. Like I trained her like 5 times beforehand, right? Mm-hmm. Then Chris took her on. So for me, it was really comfortable to be with someone who didn't have like a pre-version of myself. Mm-hmm. So I was able to kind of show who I was then and grow out of that. Because when you go through something like that, I feel like you have to go through it to understand, but you're not you anymore. Like you're not who you used to be. And I was really chasing after being, man bun, strong, shirtless all the time, Zach. And I could never be that person again, right? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because of what happened. Mm-hmm. And I didn't realize that till like a year after, like almost a year after that happened, which is crazy. And I slowly built everything back up. We painted like crazy. We renovated. We added new equipment. We did so much in the gym, my family and Chris and I, and so much happened, man. Like just from that, like I guess I'm rambling on so much, but
no, bro, it's a crazy story. That's why I want you to
And like I'm getting like obviously personal about myself. I don't care about what I say, and it's just I just wanted to take advantage of being fucking alive and actually help people, because I don't think I'm special, but I think my life and what I've been through is.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I think you can look
extraordinary
at it in
events, right? Like
a really negative light if you are of weaker mind.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful though, really, like
And I want to. I don't talk about this enough. Like I make jokes, and my buddy who might be listening is always like, "Oh, you almost died. Oh, you got arthritis." Because like that's my joke. Like if I'm golfing bad, I'm like, "Oh, I got arthritis. What can I say?" Right? Like, guys, I almost died. Like, don't forget. Right? Like, that's my joking coping mechanism thing. Yeah. But I fucking did. Right? And I had a crazy thing. And people now, like a lot of people, we have things so easy, right? Mm-hmm. So we just like, you stub your toe and it's the end of the world, or your girlfriend broke up with your boyfriend broke up with you, or like something happened, your dog died. Yeah. It sucks and it hurts and you have to feel that, but you can move on, you can live again, you can do more, right? And that's what I've been doing since. And I think the past little while I've been a little bit off track of my goals to be like the strongest person with arthritis in the world and my gym being my main priority, and my family and the person I love, and that stuff, right? And
why do you feel like what makes you think you've been sidetracked from that?
I don't think I enjoy the moment as much as I should, man. Like I'm really enjoying this right now, and I was fucking tired before I came here, and I was like, fuck, like I gotta go do this podcast, and I wanted to, right? But I was fucking tired.
Oh man, I was fucking passing out.
And you know how it is, right? Yeah. And I want to really focus on enjoying things.
I appreciate you for coming.
No, I appreciate you having me, man. And you got to enjoy what you're doing, right, while you're in it. And that's my biggest issue in life is I don't enjoy.
I think it's everybody's, man. I think it's fucking everybody's, bro.
Yeah.
I think that's really at least people living in this part of the world. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Well, like nowadays you got fucking video. You open your Instagram and the first thing you see is like, you got to work, you got to go, 10 more push-ups, right? Yeah. It's like, okay, cool. Stop being so intense. And then it's like the other people, like, you hurt my feelings.
It's so,
it feel so bad.
One way
like,
or the other.
You can have like your extremely right
super
side.
Tate mindset.
Like you have your fucking like woke, everything you say is offensive. And then you have the Tate side of things. And like you can take a little bit from each side. Not a little less from the woke side. Yeah. and you're like, holy fuck, like it's not that serious. Relax, right? Yeah. And just be yourself. Just be unapologetically yourself, right? And not to be some Pinterest quote, but that's what you got to be, right? Like I'm harsh, I'm honest, I'm loud, I'm obnoxious, but I fucking love hard, I work hard, and I care so much about everything, right? And not everybody is going to. No. And I have to be okay with that, right? And that's something that I have a hard time with.
That's something I have a really fucking hard time with, too.
But you can't change it.
I'm super intense like you. I really am super intense like you. And fucking...
read Meditations.
What's that?
Sorry. You should read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius.
Yeah?
Roman emperor. Yeah. He's a Stoic.
Okay. What's that book about?
It's it's his journal, actually.
Yeah.
It's
okay.
One of the first journals recorded in
Meditations,
history.
I've heard of that.
And he basically just wrote things of how he felt, and I'm not gonna if you know Daily Stoic, it's Ryan Holiday, is a really famous guy on Instagram. He talks a lot about Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, all those guys, Epictetus. And Marcus Aurelius studied the Greek philosophers of Stoicism, and he was in a time where there was a plague like that wiped out 1/3 of the world, right? And he wrote in his journal, this is not exactly, I'm just paraphrasing, but he wrote in his journal how sad it is to live in a time like this, or how unfortunate, sorry. And then he stopped and he commaed and he said, no, how lucky it is for I have the tools to make it through this and learn so much from it, right? So instead of looking at it as a negative light, he flipped it in the same sentence, right? And that's not exactly what he said, but it's basically saying instead of being down on yourself like I was when I was 16 and sick, I could, if I had a crystal ball and I could look at who I am today, I think I would be like, wow, how lucky it is that it's me who got this disease, who can do something with it, right?
Because it did. Think about it.
If I didn't have that shit, I wouldn't be me, man. I would be...
It's true.
I'd probably be making bread and half-assing it and not loving it as much as I love what I do now, right?
It's crazy.
Taking the lazy route, man, right?
Why do you think that happened to you? Why do you think that do you believe in God, or do you believe in anything like that?
I'm not a religious person.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I believe in everything happens for a reason. I don't know if I believe in anything. I don't want to say I'm a nihilist, but I might be.
A nihilist, you believe in nothing, believe in doom.
Right? Yeah, but I do believe that a lot of things come back to you for how hard you put out the work, right? You got to work for what you want and what you have, and you don't deserve fucking anything.
No,
right?
you don't.
You don't deserve anything. No.
Why should you?
Right? Yeah. And when you look at people that have quote unquote better lives than you, easier lives because they're rich or something like that, right? Better opportunities, and you look at them with envy or jealousy, you're the problem, right? So my girlfriend now, she has a great family. Her dad's a doctor, her mom runs an incredible business, makes a good living, and hopefully I don't get in trouble for sharing some things, but she goes on a lot of vacations, right? But she works very hard. She built an incredible business, and sometimes people will be like, oh, must be nice. And the best answer is, it is.
Yeah.
Right?
It's sweet,
it's
actually.
Great.
Yeah.
And it's awesome for me. I'm like, fuck, good for you. Like, fuck yeah.
Because people who work
Right?
hard can recognize.
Like, hopefully one day I can
you
do
know,
the same.
100%.
But I'm not looking at it in an envious
No.
light, right?
No,
I think
fuck
it's
no.
incredible. I think it's amazing. People who look down on others for what they do, it's like, why don't you just fucking do it yourself then, right? Just do it, right?
Yeah, it must be nice. Yeah, it must be nice to sit there and just pass judgment. You don't know what
Yeah.
I had to go through, or they had to go through to get to that point where you could even fucking do that.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna pretend like I don't fucking get annoyed or jealous or envious of people sometimes, because I
No,
do. It's
yeah.
not good, but it happens.
It's not the root of who you are, though.
But
at the same time.
man, like, you can learn so much from just talking, right, and communicating. And I think nowadays there's not enough conversation like this, right? You probably don't agree with everything I say, and I don't agree with everything you say, but like, we're mature enough to sit down, talk, and work, like, learn from each other, right? It's funny because my brother and I are like visually completely different looking people, right? And
Very different.
like, even some of our views are different, and how we maybe go about them is probably a better way of saying we're different about it. Like, I'm more brash and he's a little bit more diplomatic about it, and we have conversations where we disagree, like, purposefully with each other, and we just learn so much from it, right? Like, he approaches relationships different than I approach them, but then we both kind of learned how to approach things a little bit better in different
In what
ways,
sense
right?
do you feel like he does that?
Like, in his case, he'll probably let some things that upset him maybe slide a little bit more, where if something is bothering
Or
me,
just a bit more passive. Yeah.
I'll be a little bit more aggressive, right?
Yeah.
He's a little more passive, I'm a little more aggressive. And sometimes you have to have the passive approach, sometimes you have the more aggressive approach, right?
Yeah.
And we've learned so much from each other, from our dad, from our mom, everything, and just like communicating back and forth, like, politically and stuff like that. Like, I voted liberal probably every single time I voted in my life.
What does that mean?
Right? Liberal?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I would vote for the Liberal Party most likely, right?
What style of party is that more?
Like, for what I understood, which I
Yeah.
don't understand enough,
But,
so
yeah,
I have to get more educated.
I voted Green Party.
But I'm gonna vote for a party that's possibly gonna win, right? Is
Not like
my
the Green
idea,
Party.
right? So that's what I would say that for. In my mind, it was a better small business choice, right? And socially, it was more of my beliefs, right? Because when I was younger, right, I thought conservative, racist, religious. That was my instant stereotype, which is wrong, right? And now there's certain things on each side of the fence I don't like, but I'm going to vote for the one I like that resonates most with me, which is changing, right? Sometimes I think, okay, I'm going to vote more towards the conservative side or more
green.
towards a liberal, definitely not green, and 100% not the NDP or the People's Party.
I should really learn more about
Right,
that.
or the
It's
People's
like-
Party. But it's just like, I'm not a political person, political person at all. But you have to understand things, right? You just said, like, oh, what does that mean? I'm like, I don't fully know. So how can I give a proper answer to that question, right? So like, you have to be able to say, I don't know, right?
Yeah,
so
that's a big part.
that's kind of like the number one thing I've learned in business as well, is if you came to me and you said, yo, Zach, my shoulder's killing me. I feel it in the back of it, right? Just keep it simple right now. And I'm like, oh yeah, awesome. Okay, so most likely you have just like tight pecs, so that's why your shoulder hurts. Where the fuck did that answer come from? Right? I don't know. Right? I don't know the answer to that. Like, maybe I should assess you.
Yeah.
Right? So in that case, there was a woman who came in to see me, an older lady, and not that old if she's listening. You know, she's great. She's cool. She's 50 something.
Yeah.
But she came in extreme hip pain, chronic hip pain for 10 years. Right? And I've dealt with joint issues, so I have a baseline knowledge on how to fix things and correctional exercises and stuff, and baseline strength training. But I'm not a physiotherapist, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm not a
I was gonna
chiropractor.
say, yeah.
But I can read, right? So
Yeah.
I said, I don't know how to fix this, but if you give me some time to look into it, I will talk to some colleagues and I'll read some articles and some books,
Do my
and I will
best,
do
yeah.
my best. Luckily, I was able to read the guy from Squat University's book, Rebuilding Milo, and I read the whole chapter, 75 pages, on hips and assessments. I ran through every assessment with a book out in front of her, because I was like, I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but I want to try to figure it out. And I gave her a routine, no more hip pain.
Really?
Her hips are gone. She can squat deep with no pain.
Wow.
She's stronger than ever. So
That's crazy. Wow.
all that was just, saying the truth. I don't know.
But I'll try.
Let
But
me
I'll
try to
because
figure
it's
it out. And
important, yeah.
luckily, in this case, I did. But if I would have said, oh, here, let's do this, I would be like 90% of the other people that can collect a quick $70, $100, right, to fix an issue
Something that
with something that will
give
give minor relief. I could get my massage gun out, start working on her psoas muscle, give a little quick stretch out, and be like, she'll feel better for like the day. But then what?
But it'll all come back.
You have to give. You have to.
So what did you actually do? What part of her did you strengthen?
So what we did was soft tissue mobilization to start out, which is foam rolling and massaging, right, to work on the tightness in the area, and then from there we did.
Was that hip flexor?
For her, it was like her psoas muscle. It was like around her sciatic nerve area. We did the soft tissue mobilization, a few different maneuvers there, and then went into joint mobilization drills. So some mobility work with a band on the inside to pull her hip out of the position, and then to work more into the stretch. From there, we went into bodyweight squats with a elevated heel, which allowed her to squat to a deeper position without pain. To strengthen it. So now that we did the soft tissue to break down the inflammation, and then we did the mobilization to rebuild better movement patterns, we then strengthened the movement patterns with a exercise, right? And then that was a routine she followed every single day, and especially when she exercised. And then it went from bodyweight squats to a 10-pound weight in her hand, to a 45-pound bar on her back, to 155 pounds on her back, right?
Wow.
So that's how it goes. But it's not a fix, right? It's a
or like
slow,
a one answer thing, like, oh, you just need to do this
procedure that isn't sexy, but it works, right? Yeah. And that's how life works, right? You don't go to the bank.
There's usually no quick fixes.
I want $2 million with no interest.
Yeah,
right. It's like you got to build up to it.
Things take time.
Yeah, man.
Anything good takes time. That's something I'm starting to realize a lot more in my life. That things just take time. You have to be patient. I'm not a very patient person. No. You too? I think you've learned to be more patient.
I actually have developed really good patience over time. I work in an industry where people want results fast that can't come fast. Like it's impossible. Like it doesn't work unless there's medical intervention, and even in that case, it still takes time. I work in my career path that I chose. People will come to me and tell me what they want to do. I tell them what they have to do, and they say, I don't want to do that, but still want what they want, right?
Exactly. And in yours, it really doesn't work, especially in your field. That really doesn't work.
I've been in relationships too, where like you have to learn to develop patience and to develop the ability to communicate and sacrifice to a certain extent certain things that you believe to be what you want, because you don't ever really know what you want. You know what I mean? Like you can think you do, but sometimes we're just stubborn and don't want to try other things, right? You know what I mean? So I've trained people completely differently than I did when I first started. A lot more effective with the systems that we use and how we go about it. I believe that I'm good at communicating information really well. Very. And I like to make things as simple as possible, right? For people, so that you can't fuck it up. Yeah. So I always tell people it's not easy getting in shape, but it's simple, right? The hard parts of it is showing up consistently and not stopping, having an injury or something in your life come up and not allow that to stop you from continuing, right? And making sure that when things go bad, like I said in that previous statement, that you don't forget what makes you feel better, right? So, things come up. I'm not going to name clients' names, but let's say you have a big test, or you bought a house and you have to work on it, or you have a wedding coming up, right? You want to feel good, you want to sleep well, and you want to get all those things done with a sound, sharp mind.
In theory,
right? What's going to help you feel good physically, emotionally, and mentally, right? Exercise. It's proven. It's 3 times more effective than the leading antidepressant, right? So
it's Siri.
We're good?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Sorry. So if I said to you, okay, Caleb, you can come to the gym today, get your workout in 2-3 times a week, and you're going to feel great. But you might not feel it instantly, and you have to do some work. Or why don't we go to Chuck's, grab some wings, have some beer, right? You're going to feel good in that moment, but not the next day. Beer. Right? Most people are going to take that second option, right? So you have to, bad, right? Which is very too bad. Yeah. But you have to understand and decide the right things. And
you have to learn to be disciplined in life. That's where everything comes from. Do you know what I'm saying? You're not always. You're rarely ever gonna feel like doing something.
Yeah, but discipline a learned skill.
Yeah.
Right? People think
you're not born with
it.
this. Fuck no. I
You're
have a
not.
2-year-old. You're not fucking. There's zero
Yeah.
discipline.
Like, I don't make my bed.
It's
Right?
gone.
I've never made my bed.
Yeah.
And you listen to Jocko Willink, you listen to David Goggins. Like, who's gonna carry the fucking boats? And then you're like, you need to start your day off with making your bed, right? I'm not gonna ever do that. That's just not who I am, right? But I'm never gonna be late for a client in the morning. I'm never gonna not show up to work. I'm never not gonna answer a message from a client who's asking for help, right? I'm gonna do what I have to do. I'm coming to see you today. I had to work this morning. I had to help with construction with my family. I also had to get a workout in. Got the workout in, right?
It's important that you're basically just saying like the things that you say you're going to do, you have to do.
Yeah.
To the very, very best of your ability.
Yeah.
The very best of your ability.
I told you, I'm like, hey, I'm going to be a couple minutes late, right? I'm not late. I said I'm going to be outside. I'm on the phone with my girlfriend. She's in Europe.
I didn't even
spoke
see
to her,
that,
right?
That's blessed, yeah.
I want to, it's a priority in my life to speak to her, right? I want to hear her voice. So I'm like, this is what I have to do. So when you want something, you make it happen, right? I just started golfing recently, about 2 months ago. And I'm addicted at being good at things, and it's a very hard thing to just be good at, right? I fucking love golf. I actually hate it, but I love it.
Yeah.
But now it's a priority in my life. I never worked out ever in the morning. I hate working out in the morning, right?
I love it.
But I want to go golfing in the afternoon between my morning and afternoon clients. So guess when Zach wants to wake up? 5 in the fucking morning, 4:30, to get up and get after that workout so I can go tee off after my 6 a.m. till 11, right? Clients.
Wow.
I go tee off at 11:30.
Yeah.
Go do my golf for a couple hours, 3 hours, whatever. Come back to work for 4 o'clock till 8 o'clock, right? But if I say
What time
to myself,
you go to bed at?
like 10, 11, right? Depends on the night, right? But like if I say to myself, I'm going to work out after my shift,
It's not happening.
probably not going to happen,
Yeah.
right? So if I want to stay in shape, stay healthy, and continue living who I am and being an inspiration for people health-wise, I have to get the shit that sucks done first, right? And
It's the best way to start
And
your
when I
day,
say
too,
it,
bro.
the shit that
100%.
sucks, I love exercise. I love
Love it.
working out. I wrote yesterday on my story, I fucking love lifting weights.
I see.
But some days I don't
No.
want to do it,
No.
right? You know, there's some days where I might get in a fight with my girlfriend or with my dad or with a client, and I don't want to work out,
Just wanna sit.
right?
Just
And I want to
fucking
sit
watch
down,
YouTube.
watch YouTube,
Fucking chill.
eat some shitty food,
Yeah.
and then not feel better.
Yeah.
But I've done that so many times in the past that I don't need to do it anymore,
Yeah.
right? So now as a coach, I want to tell people like, listen, I've done it. I'm not going to hate on you if you do it, but you know it's not the right thing to do.
Yep.
So decide, right? And ideally, they decide the right thing, right? And that's what's happening, right? We have a great community. We have an amazing community.
How many members are you at right now?
Just people who go through the gym. We have over 100 people now,
Wow.
which is awesome.
Wow.
And we're like, cheers, everybody.
So you
knows
talk
each
about
other.
one thing I wanted to ask is you talk about you have your clients, right? So you have your client. I just want so people really understand so that they can inquire because people will inquire with you. You have a different memberships, right?
You have totally different ones.
So you have just people. Go ahead and just break them down if you don't
So
mind.
if you're a basic tier membership, like every other gym has, or you can come work out. We're a much more expensive gym than most places. We have better equipment. We have better staff.
This is like an actual gym. This isn't like Crunch.
It's
This is
not
like an
Crunch
actual,
or
this is
Anytime
like a
Fitness
specialty,
or any
like,
bullshit like that.
fucking-
We
yeah.
know what we're doing. Everyone in the gym is cool. We kind of vet people to make sure we have a good environment, make sure people aren't. I like to say we're White Oaks for non-douchebags, right? You know what I mean? That's kind of my quote,
Yeah.
right? And there's nothing wrong with White
We
Oaks,
lift hard,
obviously.
too. I feel
And
like
we lift
nobody
heavy
I
as
feel like
fuck,
nobody
right?
at White Oaks actually lifts like
We got girls outlifting most guys at most gyms, right? That
Crazy.
come to our gym.
Yeah.
We have our basic membership, like I said, which is our lowest priced one. And then we also have student memberships.
What
which
are your
very cheap.
prices? Go ahead.
Fuck, man. By the time this comes out, it might change. So just inquire for prices.
Mhm,
But
that's fair.
Basically, think anywhere between $75 and $100
For the base.
for base stuff,
Which is
right?
totally fair. That's
And,
totally fair.
We also provide programs for our members. So you tell me you want to be a bodybuilder. Here's a bodybuilding-esque program for your goals. If you are looking for powerlifting, here it is. If you're an athlete and you're focused on land sports, ice sports, whatever they are, here are your programs. Whatever you want to do, here's your program, right? So we have things ready for you. You want a more custom touch in all the loops of a coach, a little bit more pricey, but you have a coach in your corner at all times, right? We have the most success rate by far in Niagara because of what we do and how we do it, which is awesome, and I'm proud of that. I couldn't do it without Chris by no fucking means. I could not do it without Chris. And we're growing. Chris is pretty much fully booked. I'm booked enough.
But you like, just so people know, you do accept new clients.
We accept new clients always.
But you personally?
Me, yes.
Yeah,
I still do. I'm a little bit pricier now because I don't want to work with people unless I know that it's going to work.
Yeah,
right? And now my goal is to get around doing things like this, speaking to people, inspiring people. I work in a youth prison.
Yeah, that's right.
I speak at schools, Notre Dame to start with, right? And I just spread the word of exercise fitness, the importance of it for your mental and physical health. Unfortunately, we don't take it as seriously as we should. Like, we have mandatory events at schools, but we don't have mandatory fitness at schools, right? So,
and it should be. It should absolutely be.
There's so many different sects and groups now, not sex, like sects, SECTS, that are mandatory to participate in, right? Whether you're at a Catholic school or not, doesn't matter what you're doing. You have to go to the church thing. You have to do this. You have to do that, and that's cool. These are the rules that you have to follow.
It should be mandatory.
But we should be mandatory to be healthy, to understand, right? Just like we should be mandatory to learn taxes and stuff like that, right?
It's almost an obligation, I feel like, to be physically healthy if you're capable.
I've started a campaign to do work with the Catholic board. I work with DSBN right now, the normal your public board. Yeah, they're amazing. I'm trying to get in with the Catholic. They're a little bit pain right now. Yeah, but to get into schools and get fitness more on the radar, right, and not your because it's amazing how many people are working out now compared to before, which is amazing. But now the idea is more about vanity than ever, right? People are showing their ass, doing their thing more than ever on Instagram. You got the girls wearing barely anything on Instagram. They can do whatever they want with their body. I'm not saying that.
Do you like what's your view on that?
I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't like it personally because I have a little sister and I'm eventually gonna have kids and maybe I'll have a daughter. So I don't like the idea of people taking all their clothes off. And this isn't just towards women. This is towards guys as well.
Now, are you talking like in a fitness aspect or are you talking like OnlyFans aspect?
OnlyFans, I'm not into. It's not for me. Not something I'd be proud of. You can do whatever the fuck you want to do to make money, to each their own, but it's not something I'd be proud of if I was doing it, right? And I've said that before. People don't like it. Don't really care. No. But for fitness, it's cringy as fuck now, right? Because everyone's like, right, let's say, God forbid, something happened to me and my girlfriend, right? And I go on Instagram like, she hurt me. It's my time, with my hoodie on in the rain, and I start fucking curling, right? That is annoying. Like, shut up. Just work out, get healthy, and do it for the right reasons. For the sake of doing it, right? Because you love yourself, not because you are upset over a girl or a guy, right? And then we have people, like, I talk about this, like, we have so many strong women at my gym, and it's amazing, and they post their videos, and it's so inspiring, it's so cool. I'd be really disappointed if I had somebody in my gym have a camera underneath their ass and is filming their ass up or bottom up below them, right, to show their butt cheeks off, like, to a ridiculous extent while they're deadlifting, rather than just showing themselves deadlift, right? If you want to show your butt, but like, you don't have to, like, make it ridiculous,
make it the full, right? And lose the fitness aspect of what you're actually trying to, what you're
for attention, right? And that goes on both ends of the spectrum, men and women, right? So, like, I'm proud of the ladies we have at the gym. I'm proud of the guys we have at the gym. We have hardworking people. I got 18-year-olds who are working 12-hour shifts and then driving from Burlington to come work out afterwards, right? And
your gym's open from what time? 6 till 8?
Like 6 till like 10, realistically. 6 till 10. Yeah, it's 6 till 8 on the internet, but people that I fuck with, like,
get it done.
They get the code. Right? Yeah. They get the code to close up. They close the shop up for me. Like,
wow.
I'm growing.
Well, I like to think, like, the thing I like to about what you're doing is you're selective with, you know, the people that come into your space, right? Because that's something that I've noticed, like, slips with certain people's businesses. They just let anybody come because money's money.
I've kicked people out.
And I get and I get where people come from, but business is business. But, like, at a certain point too, like, it is good to kind of, because it's your brand that these people are representing. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly, it's like we fire clients too, right? We fire personal training clients that come to see us, and they're spending thousands of dollars a month, right, to get themselves in shape, and they just don't do anything they're supposed to. They eat like absolute trash. They don't take care of themselves, and that's a reflection of who we are as coaches, right? So. You know, I've done it in the past where I've ripped on the ability and skill of a coach because of what they showcase, right? Which some deserved, some not so much. But it's a lot easier to say like, oh, why would you show a person to do this exercise, or why are you making him do it like that? That form doesn't look good. That doesn't look good. But that's because we live in a world where everything's perfect that we show, right? Where like, if you came in to see me, I guarantee you your squat form would be not great, right? And if I recorded your first set, right?
I don't squat.
And posted that,
yeah,
and was like, "Wow, good job." I'm a terrible coach.
Well, and
but
also
if
it looks cringy on you too, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
But
to
defend people who do that, you don't realize that like everybody has different leverages. Everybody does different things, right? So like sometimes maybe I'm not good at social media. I'm not bad at it, but let's say I'm not good at it, and I take a video of you doing a bad squat. I'm like, oh, that's awesome, but I forget to post the corrections that I did with you. Yeah. And now it just looks like I don't know what I'm doing, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. Exactly.
So that's the shitty part, right? So I don't know, like we're great. Our gym is great. That's where I'm going.
The gym is great, and I wanna bring it. I have like 2 more questions I really do want to ask you. So I ask this to a lot of, well, I would say most of the people, I would say the majority of people that I have on this podcast, all of them really, I deem like successful people, hardworking people, and myself, I would say I'm on that path too, and I am very hardworking.
For sure.
And I have like OCD for sure. You probably have the same. Yeah, you're definitely obsessive, right? 100%. Yeah. So what are some things you do to maintain a level of balance in your life? Because me as somebody who, like I'm in a parenting role, I have this company, I do my own music, I'm a barber full time. Yeah. I'm a fiance. You know what I'm saying? Family, all that. What are some things you do to stay balanced, stay organized? Because I remember asking you, I'm fairly certain you said that like you're even bad at like making lists and shit like that.
Yeah, I don't do lists.
So like, go ahead. Like, what?
Like, how do I stay focused?
Like, how do you just stay? Or do you feel like you're balanced, or totally not at all? Balanced in an aspect where you feel like you're giving the right amount of time to all the things that you need to do. Because I feel like I don't. I feel like I lack. I don't know.
If I said yes, I feel like I do, I'd be fucking lying. Yeah, but if I said no, I'd also be lying, right?
You're doing your best, right?
I'm not saying I'm further ahead of you, but I'm older than you, right?
Yeah.
I'm 26. Yeah. And I'm not in the position to be grinding the same... I am grinding, but grinding the same way to get to certain places, right? So, like, last year, if you had me on here, I was fucking scrambling, fixing the gym, training clients, trying to get my health back in order, building a new relationship, staying focused on my family, helping them do what they need to do around our place. And I had no outlet. Exercise is my only outlet, but exercise is also my job. And
that's
right?
what I was going to ask you too. So, what's an outlet that you...
So I didn't have one, right? I didn't have anything. And that's all. I was obsessed. And I still am. But now I have to be able to turn it off, right? Which I said earlier, like I couldn't, and now I can. And I can to a certain extent.
It's so hard,
I'd lie to you. Like there's times where right now when I drive home, I'm going to be fucking thinking about, okay, what do I have to do next? I got to do this.
Because I'm already thinking about
because this conversation pumped me up, right?
Yeah.
But
oh, that's a good one.
Jesus.
That's a good one.
I don't know how that happened. I thought my phone was off. My bad.
Seriously, you know what to do. That's okay. That's
sorry.
So
but
oh fuck.
Now I've
it goes back to staying in the moment, I think.
You got to stay in the moment. But like now like I said, I picked up the golf thing, right, with some friends.
Hobby that's not working out.
A hobby that's not working out.
But still fitness.
But it's
related. Kind of.
It's fun.
Yeah.
It's frustrating, but it's frustrating exciting, right? Because it's something I'm not good at, which I don't like. But it gives me something to focus on that's not work. The first month of it, month and a half, we're on 2 months now, it was all I thought about. Thought about all day, every day. I worked out, but I didn't care about it. I just did it to do it. Yeah. And I trained my clients and did what I do because I never lose focus on work. So that's one thing I never lose focus on. I'm always good with that. So I kept doing that, but all I could think about was golfing, right? Which is not healthy because I have to do other things. So I had to paint these walls in the gym, and I know I had to do it. I just didn't because I was like, I'm going to go golf. I'm going to go to the driving range. Where like this week, I'm like, okay, paint the fucking walls, and then you can golf. Yeah. Painted the walls, golfed. Great, right? I value quality time so much, right? And my girlfriend's a much less outgoing person than me, and not a bad thing at all. It's actually really great.
It's kind of nice. Yeah,
it's kind of nice
to balance out.
But she likes to be alone a lot, right? And I don't. But being with her, I've learned to enjoy that. Like I like going on my phone and reading an article or reading a book or listening to an audiobook or going in my sauna and doing that, right? So now I like to work with clients about 6 to 8 hours a day,
Mm-hmm.
right? And people are like, oh, you only work 6 to 8 hours a day? With clients, one-on-one hour sessions.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do my social media work that
Mm-hmm.
I have to do, which I'm not as organized as I should be.
Mm-hmm. It's
I
hard
get
to
my
be, man.
exercise
Fucking
in, which
content's
is like an
crazy.
hour and a half to 2
Yeah.
hours.
Wow.
I like to do some type of continuous education every day where I read articles about fitness, about business, about marketing, all that type of stuff. I do that every day. And then there's certain, I've been doing Duolingo for like 3 years now,
What's that?
right? It's a Spanish learning app. Oh, it's an app for
Really?
learning language.
That's cool.
Like yo hablo español poquito, right? Like not very
Yeah,
much. But
poquito.
I've been,
Little bit.
I've
I
been
know
learning
most
it
of
for like
tiny bit.
3 years, right?
Yeah.
But I want, like, I'm very consistent. So I'm a very consistent guy. So I'm able to focus on the things I need to and being consistent with it. My dad and brother are building a lot onto our facility right now,
Mm-hmm.
and they've been putting a lot of work into it. And I kind of not been helping as much as I should have because
Mm-hmm.
I've been obsessed with golf, right? And today we
I
had
wonder if
to-
you'll be obsessed with golf like for a while. Or if this
I'll be
is, like,
no, I'll
a
be
fleeting thing.
who knows, it'll be forever until I'm on tour, which
Yeah.
isn't gonna happen. So,
Yeah.
but you know, but my dad needed help today, right? He's like, yo,
Mhm.
I need you. So I call my buddy. He's like, yo, I can't call. Sorry, can't make it.
Okay,
I'll
do
send you the
shit.
money for it, whatever, right? Spent 4 or 5 hours putting up a beam, right? A steel beam. We're not construction workers, but we did it, right?
1,600 pounds.
1,600 pounds. We did
fucking
that,
beam.
and that made me really happy because I was like, fuck,
I
this is
checked
what
the
I
family thing.
I checked
you know
the
what
thing
I'm
that I
saying?
have to do, right?
Yeah.
And my dog had run away
Oh yeah.
about
I forgot that.
3 months ago. And honestly, after I got sick, which is a year of me being a bad dog
Dad.
owner,
Yeah.
right? Dog dad.
Mm-hmm.
I neglected my dog so hard. Like,
Mm.
luckily my dad took care of her a lot, but I just did not spend time with her. And then she ran away, right? She got spooked by some construction that was happening and took off 38 kilometers away.
38.
Yeah.
What the
Right.
fuck?
All the way to port from Fenwick, which is crazy. And
Whoa.
I found her after 5 days, right? A lot of people looking for her. And after I found her, I'm like, I could be like, oh, fuck, stupid dog ran away. But I realized, like,
Stupid owner.
you fucking dickhead, I would run away from you too, right? And I now she's.
How'd you
she's-
find her, real quick?
People spotted her, and then we just kept going to the same area over and over again. And eventually, I saw her. She ran right past Erica and I, like literally sprinted past us. Didn't even know it was us. And when they're in that moment, fight or flight, they don't know who they are, right? So she kind of started smelling me. I followed her for like 30 minutes, and I put my head down, put food, got her back, right? And it was amazing. But
crazy.
now she's the friendliest dog ever with people, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Well, not ever, but for me, compared to who she used to be.
Mhm.
I treat her so much better, and if I didn't hold myself accountable for being a shitty fucking dog owner, she would probably be very upset right now, right? But
Yeah.
she's happy and good now. So there's so many lessons you can learn from everything you do, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Like, gotta take care of my dog, take care of my gym, take care of my family.
It's about just having the priorities and doing your best every day to meet the things.
Yeah, dude.
And some days, not every fucking glass gets filled.
Yeah, and
That's a reality, right?
that's fucking reality.
And I hate it.
Yeah.
I fucking hate that.
And
I
you
hate
gotta
that.
sometimes just turn that shit off. Like, my thing's trips. I love going on trips. I'm going on a trip again in September. I'm going to Curacao.
I'm gonna do that.
It's for me. I love snorkeling. I love being underwater. It completely turns everything off. And then when I'm on the flight home, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this in the gym. I'm
Yo,
gonna
I
do
get
this,
on
I'm
the
gonna do that, I'm gonna
laptop
do this.
every time.
And it's great,
On the fucking
right?
laptop, yeah.
I'm goal oriented. I have things that I want to do. It annoys the fuck out of Erica so much because I'm like, okay, so we're in love and we're dating.
Yeah.
What's next, right?
Yeah,
And she's like,
right.
fuck off, dude. Just
Yeah.
take a chill pill,
Just enjoy it.
right? And enjoy where we're at. Where I'm like,
I can't handle it. I even said to my girl, like, would you live around here forever? Like, would you like be like likely to move to Vancouver, or
Yeah.
like, are you okay? She's like, like what? Like,
Yeah.
can I just like fucking go to school and fucking
Yeah.
like,
I'm like, would you be okay if our kids that we don't have, and I don't even know if you want to have kids, but the kids that we're gonna have,
Yeah.
okay? So when we have them, are you gonna be okay if they like want to lift weights and they want to golf all the time? And like, but like, what if they want to do this, but they don't have to go to school? You know, like it's just like, could you just fucking shut up, right? So it's, I don't know, man. Like, you gotta just like chill the fuck out, enjoy life. If you have a dream, chase after it. Don't be a fucking doorknob and fall on your face and not try to get back up, right? You're going to fail a lot. You're not going to do well a lot. I've had so many ideas with the gym that didn't work out, and then I tried them again and they did or they didn't, right? I've said to myself, I'm going to record the videos that are exercise videos and put them into the app so it's not a placeholder person doing them for 4 years. I still haven't done it, right? It's not good. I could be like, I'm never going to do it, but I'm going to fucking do it, and I just have to do it, right? So choose what you want to do, go after it, and if you don't want to do it anymore, it's okay, right? Like that's like my girlfriend wanted to be a nurse, like so bad. She wanted to work in the hospital so bad. She did all that stuff, and she just didn't enjoy it that much. And like most people, like, you spent all that money and time to become a nurse, and you're not going to work in the hospital. It's like, bro, who fucking cares, right? You don't have to do something you don't want to do.
Why would she want to do that?
And now she's doing like Botox filler stuff, and she loves it. She's really good at it. She does the best lips in town. So if you need somebody with juicy lips, go see my girl, bro. She's amazing at it. Nurse by Erica. By Nurse Erica. No, by.nurse.erica. That's her name.
We'll tag it
on Instagram, right? But like, it's you gotta just fucking go with the flow and do what you gotta do, right? I'm gonna own a gym most likely the rest of my life, but it might not be the same thing. Now I'm in golf, so I'm like, would you guys like to put a simulator in the gym, right? Like, it's just like that's just how I am, right? And
I'm always on to the next thing too.
It works, right? But enjoy it, Caleb.
Enjoy the moment.
Enjoy it, dude. Right?
I have one final question for you,
sir.
and that's if you, because there's gonna be lots of younger kids like watching this, like not like kids, but like 16, 17, like young adults. So let's say your younger overweight self was sitting in front of you and not the fucking handsome version of me that is standing in front of you. What would you say to them, just like now where you are at in life and where they're at now? They're not motivated. They're in that mindset that you were in at one point. What would you say to them now to really just be like, this is what you have to do to get to where I'm at today?
You're not going to figure it out as fast as you want. It's not going to be easy. Try to enjoy what you're doing while you're doing it. Love every fucking day that you have, 16-year-old me. And stop being a fucking pussy. Get after it. Like that's
it.
That's it, man.
It's beautiful.
It's fucking, if I could go back, dude, and just have me who I am now with who I was, things would be a lot different,
Yeah.
It's just it's crazy.
It's beautiful.
Dude, thank you so much.
That's life, yo. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Make sure everybody please go follow Zac, Zac Forge Fitness. Follow Forge
Lifting Club.
Forge Lifting Club on Instagram. I'm gonna have everything tagged. If you need a personal trainer to absolutely fucking kick your ass in the best way possible, hit my man up. And we're definitely gonna do this again.
Hell yeah, dude. And if you need anything health-wise, mental health-wise, you need just a person to talk to, you can reach out to me. If you're annoying, I'll send you to Chris.
Thanks, guys. See you in the next one.
Yeah, you get further from me every time that we speak. It's like I can't get rest unless you're here with me. You make it